Hi, so happy to have you here. This is where I share my thoughts on how design changed the way I think and do, and why I think design is simply a part of life. My name is Sandy, and I'm a design mentor. Have you ever considered what the word creative actually means? I looked it up in the dictionaries as a noun. Here's a definition. A person whose job is to suggest new ideas or design, draw, or write things. This is interesting because in a traditional ad agency setting, as demonstrated in the popular series Mad Men, creative is definitely how we label a person who designed, drew, and wrote for an ad campaign. This is likely a legacy definition from the ad world. I looked it up again as an adjective, and here's a definition. Activities to invent and develop new kind of things, especially in arts. Okay, as an adjective, the abilities to invent or to make new things are emphasized. Definitely in any situation when someone comes up with a novel idea, we often compliment this person as creative. But when does this usually happen? Is it only apparent in a group setting? Or does it only happen in art? I decided to dig deeper and look up the word creativity. Here's perhaps my favorite definition. Creativity is the ability to create. Let's hear this one more time. Creativity is the ability to create. At the beginning of my career, the word creativity gave me a lot of grief. Whenever I couldn't come up with a design, I thought I had no creativity. Whenever I got stuck on color choices, I thought I had no creativity. Whenever I couldn't come up with an original concept that no one has ever thought of, I told myself I'd better pack my bags and go home because I had zero creative genes in me. At that time, I thought creativity was a superpower, and only the top designers possessed it. As I grew to be a more seasoned designer, it became easier to come up with not just one, but multiple solutions to a design problem. At first, I thought it was because I was finally getting closer to possessing that superpower. But with time, I realized what helped me were exposures and experiences. The exposures to different scales of projects and problems gave me the chance to practice. I practiced on understanding that even within the same industry, each client's need is unique. The tools I needed to pull out of my toolbox for each design project had to be tailored to the project. Not every single project required an app. Not every single project required an extensive research. And not every single project had the time and space for an overhaul of interface design. What I learned from all these exposures was to listen to any requests more intently. The experiences of designing for different subjects and content gave me the chance to expand my knowledge bank. For example, compared to numbers, charts, and graph-heavy content, it is vastly different to design the layouts and structure for text, image, and label-heavy content. It's also vastly different to design for the phone screen compared to the giant billboards at Times Square. I needed to learn new sets of constraints and possibilities for every new subject, and be comfortable to expand beyond what I already know. The thing I learned from these experiences was to be a sponge and never stop learning. So if experience and time are so important, what about creativity being our ability to create? I believe I am. You are. We are all creating on a daily basis. Wherever we are in the world or in life, we assess our current constraints and needs. We bring our current knowledge and ability to the table, and we conjure up creative solutions that fit the moment to the best of our current ability. This happens day after day. It doesn't matter if we're solving a problem for our home or for a major client at work. We're creating solutions on a daily basis. But if we all have the ability to create to begin with, why does the word creativity makes us doubt ourselves endlessly? Perhaps it's because we all wholeheartedly believe in the legacy definition of the word creative and think that's only for the visually talented. And perhaps it's because we often forget craftsmanship, how it's our best partner in bringing creative visions to life, how without it, creativity gets stuck for an unmeasurable amount of time. Looking back at my younger self, with only 6 months of experience, struggling to understand the word creativity, I realized I was basically asking myself to be a tree when I was only trying to sprout. I had every imagination. I dreamt up all of these amazing designs, but because I lacked exposures, experiences, and craftsmanship, my delivery was not always the best. It took repetitive practice on the same design, same technique, same structure for me to get the basics down, to then feeling confident to level up and pick up a more difficult set of skills. The process of challenging the self is the core of building craftsmanship, and it cycles through our lives constantly, continuously in every part of our lives. It doesn't matter if we're making pasta, writing a novel, composing a song, designing macros for a spreadsheet, drafting a treatment plan for a patient, writing codes to enable an indoor vertical farm. We're all constantly improving our craft. I used to look at my art directors in awe and thought, I could never become them. I could never surpass them. As time passed, I realized my goal never should have been to surpass anyone else. It should have been to hone my craftsmanship so my creativity could flow out of me naturally. But I was right to admire my art directors because it took them years to hone their craftsmanship. My purpose wasn't to become anyone else, but to eventually find my own voice, just like my art directors did, so that I could use it to share my point of view. My purpose is to surpass my previous selves. What I could imagine in the past, I might not have had the experience to produce. What I can produce now might not have even been imaginable by my younger self. Exposures, experiences, technology, and practice made me a better designer. Combining creativity and craftsmanship, I was finally able to put down more confident strokes. Craftsmanship takes time and determination. An end goal is to express what we think is beautiful with the world. No matter how creative our minds are, without craftsmanship, many thoughts remain thoughts. None of us are born craftsmen. We could be born with the ability to connect with certain subjects, but it takes tremendous amount of practice and patience to become a craftsman. In financial speak, with time, whatever we put in is compounding interest. During this process, a lot of doubts will creep in. Sometimes it will feel like we're trapped in a one-step forward, two-step back dance. But ultimately, what stays with us and no one can take away from us is our experience and craft. They're uniquely ours. Perfection is a never-ending path, but we can always work towards it. Accumulation can be a boring drip drop, but we can always work on it. Because at the end, this accumulated wealth is what makes our creativity come alive. Now I'm curious, what are you working on right now to improve your craft? Next time, I will share some thoughts on taste and execution. If you'd like to hear more, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. I am beyond excited to go on this journey with you.